Hello and good afternoon friends, welcome to the CEC EduSet live lecture. Dear friends, as you know that we are carrying a series on reactivity and mechanisms, and under the series we have conducted numerous sessions. In previous session we talked about the preparation of carboxylic acids. Today also we are going to talk on carboxylic acids, but today we are going to discuss about the various reactions of carboxylic acids, and for this we have again with us in our studios Dr. Vandana. She is Assistant Professor in Department of Chemistry, Dayal Singh College, University of Delhi. As well as I would like to tell you all that Dr. Vandana has written numerous research papers, and I hope that in our forthcoming lectures we would be discussing on some of her papers so that it becomes beneficial for you to understand more and more what's happening all around, that is what's happening all in the world. So taking advantages from her experiences, let's welcome our guest Dr. Vandana and try to understand the reactions of carboxylic acids. Hello ma'am, welcome to the EduSet lecture. Though we have discussed a lot on the preparation of carboxylic acids, we had a revision session on the carboxylic acids also. So today we are going to talk on the reactions. Now over to you ma'am.
Thank you so much ma'am, and good evening all of you. Today I will tell you about the reactions of carboxylic acid. As you know, we have already stated in the last lecture about the how can we prepare different carboxylic acid. Today we will go through the reactions of carboxylic acid. Reactions of carboxylic acid can be categorized into 4-5 categories. Number 1, reactions which involves the cleavage of oxygen hydrogen bond, and next nucleophilic acyl substitution reaction. Third, reaction which involves decarboxylation and reactions which involves reductions. Next, reaction which involves alpha hydrogen, means the preparation of acid halides. First of all, I will discuss about the reactions involving cleavage of OH bond. This is first I will discuss about the acidic behavior. When carboxylic acid reacts with active metals like sodium, potassium, zinc and magnesium, they form carboxylate salts, and there is a evolution of hydrogen gas. For example, here we are taking formic acid, acetic acid, and the salts are sodium formate, zinc acetate, magnesium acetate with the evolution of hydrogen gas. Next reaction is with the bases. Again we get the carboxylate salts, but here is the difference is that we are having water molecule in the side product. So next reaction is with carboxylic acid also reacts with organic bases such as metal alkoxides, amines and Grignard reagent. You know what are Grignard reagent? RMGX, alkyl magnesium halide. You can see formic acid when reacts with pyridine, it will give you pyridinium formate, and acetic acid when reacts with sodium ethoxide, it will give you sodium acetate, and with triethylamine, it will give you the salt again. So with acid and base, active metal salts and bases, we are getting the salts. Next reaction is with carbonates and bicarbonates. Carboxylic acid are stronger acids than carbonic acid. So with carbonates and bicarbonates, they formed salts with the liberation of carbon dioxide. You can see the examples when acetic acid reacts with sodium carbonate, with calcium carbonate and sodium bicarbonate or sodium hydrogen carbonate, you will get the sodium acetate, calcium acetate and sodium acetate respectively with the evolution of carbon dioxide and water molecule. An aqueous solution of sodium bicarbonate is often used to detect the presence of carboxylic group. So it liberates the carbon dioxide on reaction with sodium bicarbonate, and it is considered to contain a carboxylic group. This cannot be treated as a confirmative test, however, but we can use for the preliminary test, because a few other classes of compounds such as sulfonic acid, picric acid, what is picric acid? 2,4,6-trinitrophenol, alkyl hydrogen sulfates and certain enols also liberate carbon dioxide from sodium bicarbonate. Phenols in general are weaker acid than carbonic acid, so they do not liberate carbon dioxide from sodium bicarbonate. So we can distinguish between phenols and carboxylic acid with the reaction sodium bicarbonate. You can see the reaction. Phenol, when reacts with sodium carbonate, there is no reaction, but when 2,4,6 tri-nitrophenol reacts with this sodium bicarbonate, it will give you sodium salt of this phenol, and when alkane sulfonic acid reacts with sodium bicarbonate, it will give you again salt, sodium alkane sulfonate. Next, carboxylic acids and carboxylate ion as nucleophiles. Reaction with diazomethane, CH2N2, this is your diazomethane. When it reacts with carboxylic acid in ether solution, it forms corresponding esters. You know what are esters? RCOR. Here the reaction is with propionic acid with the diazomethane, and you will get the methyl propionate. Benzoic acid will give you methyl benzoate. So esters are formed with diazomethane. Diazomethane acts as a nucleophile. You can see the mechanism of this reaction, how this diazomethane attack to the carboxylic acid carbonyl carbon. First of all, carboxylate ion is formed, and by SN2 mechanism, substitution by nucleophilic, you will get the ester. Then reaction with alkyl halide. Carboxylic acid react with 1 degree or 2 degree alkyl halide in benzene in the presence of DBU. What is DBU? You can see this is 1,8-diaza bicyclo-7-ene. It is a hindered base. So when it reacts to form esters, sodium, potassium or silver salts of carboxylic acids also react with 1-2 degree alkyl halide to form esters. Reaction with alkene, carboxylic acid add on to the carbon-carbon double bond in alkene in the presence of an acid to form esters. You can see the example, acetic acid when react with isobutylene in presence of acid to form tertiary butyl acetate. Reaction with acid chloride, carboxylic acid react with acid chloride in the presence of pyridine to form anhydride. So here we get the anhydride. You can see the examples also. Acetic acid when reacts with acetyl chloride, it will give you acetic anhydride, and when propionyl chloride react with sodium acetate, it will give you acetic propionic anhydride. Reaction with ketene, carboxylic acid react with ketenes to form anhydrides. Simple ketene is obtained by pyrolysis of acetone at 700 degrees Celsius or by heating acetic acid with aluminium phosphate at 700 degrees Celsius. So you can see acetic acid when react with ketene will form acetic anhydride as well as the formation of ketene from acetone by pyrolysis or with aluminium phosphate. Reaction with enol esters. Here also anhydrides are formed. For example, acetic acid when react with isopropenyl acetate, acetic anhydride is formed, and when propionic acid react with isopropenyl acetate, acetic propionic anhydride is formed. Next kind of reaction for carboxylic acid are, which is our very main important reaction for carboxylic acid, is nucleophilic acyl substitution reaction. Nucleophilic means nucleophile is there to attack on carboxylic carbonyl carbon. Acyl means RCO group, and substitution means there is a substitution of OH group by another incoming group. With certain nucleophilic reagent, carboxylic acid undergo nucleophilic displacement of hydroxyl group at acyl carbon to give the substitution product. So we can define like this. So it is called nucleophilic acyl substitution. It occurs by addition elimination mechanism. At first, the nucleophile adds on to the, you can see nucleophile first add on to the carbonyl carbon, and then carbonyl carbon double bond of carboxylic acid to form a tetrahedral intermediate. You can see the structure of tetrahedral intermediate, and then the later being unstable undergoes elimination involving loss of hydroxyl group to generate the carbon oxygen double bond, hence substitution takes place. So, it is the representation of mechanism nucleophilic acyl substitution. You can see RCOL. L here is the leaving group, RCO is the acyl group. Nucleophile will attack onto the carbonyl carbon because of displacement of pi electron towards more electronegative oxygen atom. Hence, it is now ready to attack by the nucleophile. So, addition takes place and the intermediate tetrahedral will form. Because it is unstable, so what happens quickly? There is a elimination of L group, that is leaving group, and you will get the substitution product simply. So, Nu which represent the nucleophile can be Cl minus, it can from PCl5, from PCl3 or SOCl2, and the leaving group can be OH2, better leaving group. So, we have explained earlier also that why substitution takes place in carboxylic group, because in carboxylic compound L is OH. So, better leaving group is there. So, it can leave easily, while in aldehyde, when we compare this mechanism with aldehyde and ketone, there H in place of L, for aldehydes there was H and for ketones there was R. So, these group are poor leaving group. That is why they cannot be undergo substitution, simply nucleophilic addition takes place in case of aldehydes and ketone, while in case of carboxylic acid as well as their derivatives, substitution will take place because of better leaving group. Weaker the base, better the leaving group because of basicity. These are the strongest bases. What are strongest bases? H and R. Reaction with alcohols. When carboxylic acids are heated with alcohols in presence of a small amount of concentrated sulfuric acid or dry hydrogen gas, esters are formed. This reaction is known as Fischer esterification. After Emil Fischer, the inventor of this reaction, very important reaction, because we can change the equilibrium either towards reactant or towards the product. Means we can form the product. If we want to change the product again to the reactant, we can also change the equilibrium. So, a large excess of alcohol is used to shift the equilibrium towards the right, and for this wonderful reaction, Emil Fischer was awarded for Nobel Prize in 1902. These are the examples. Propionic acid when react with ethyl alcohol, you will get the ethyl propionate. Benzoic acid when react with methyl alcohol, methyl benzoate will form. Then next reaction is with phosphorus halide, you will get the acid chlorides. Examples are with propionic acid or acetic acid, you will get the acid chloride. Mechanism also here, you can see how PCl5 attack to the carboxylic group and then reshuffled, and then you will get the acid chloride with POCl3 as side product. Reaction with PCl3, first of all PCl2 will attack on the OH group of the carboxylic group, then there is a positive charge on oxygen atom because third valence is also there, and now this carbon is become more susceptible towards the chloride ion, then this chloride ion will attack to the carbon, and then there is a elimination of elimination of hydrogen to get the acid chloride. So, two more molecules of carboxylic acid are converted to acid chloride by HOPaCl2 in a similar manner, and itself it converted to the S3PO3. Then reaction with thionyl chloride. What is thionyl chloride? SOCO2, Cl2. Acetic acid give acetyl chloride, benzoic acid will give you benzoyl chloride. So, thionyl chlorides are formed. This is the mechanism how thionyl chloride will attack to the hydroxyl oxygen atom first of all, and then there is a elimination of hydrogen molecule, and then you will get the acid chloride by number of rearrangement. You can see in the mechanism how it proceed. You can see chloride ion will attack to the carbonyl carbon, because when positive charge acquire on the oxygen, then this carbon will become more susceptible towards the any nucleophile, that is here chloride ion. Reaction with oxalyl chloride. Carboxylic acid reacts with oxalyl chloride. You can see the structure of oxalyl chloride. Here 2 chloride ion are there and you get the product acid chloride. Next reaction is with the ammonia. You will get the acetamide. Carboxylic acid react with ammonia to form corresponding ammonium salts which are stable at room temperature. When these ammonium salts are heated well above 100 degree, they are converted into amides with loss of a water molecule. This is the mechanism how ammonia molecule acting as a nucleophile attack to the carbonyl carbon, then there is a tetrahedral intermediate, then proton transfer, elimination reaction, and you will get the amide. It is the removal of water in the form of steam at high temperature that causes the equilibrium to shift in the favor of amide formation. So, very important reaction. Acid anhydrides of carboxylic acids have relatively higher molecular mass, are prepared by heating the carboxylic acid with acetic anhydride. This reaction is known as anhydride exchange. For example, carboxylic acid will give you acid anhydride and acetic acid will give you acetic anhydride. Action of phosphorus pentoxide. Carboxylic acid when heated with phosphorus pentoxide, this is a dehydrating agent, undergo bimolecular dehydration to form corresponding acid anhydrides. You can see benzoic acid will give you benzoic anhydride when react with acetic anhydride along with acetic acid. Alkane 1,4-dioic acid such as succinic acid and alkane 1,5-dioic acid such as glutaric acid form 5 and 6 membered cyclic anhydride respectively when they are heated alone or with acetic anhydride. So, you can see the succinic anhydride and glutaric acid anhydride how they form. However, alkane 1,6-dioic acid such as adipic acid or alkane 1,7-dioic acid such as palmalic acid form 5 and 6 membered cyclic ketones on heating with acetic anhydride or alone. So, these are the examples. Blank made these observations and put forward a rule as to which dicarboxylic acid would form anhydride and which would form ketone. So, you can see the 1,5-dioic acid and 1,4-dioic acid will form the succinic anhydride and glutaric anhydride, while 1,6 and 1,7-dioic acid will form the ketone. Here are the cyclopentanone and cyclohexanone, and this is called the Blank's rule. Reaction with alkyl lithium and phenyl lithium. When a carboxylic acid is treated with 2 equivalents of alkyl or phenyl lithium, it forms first a lithium carboxylate salt, you can see in the reaction, and the latter undergoes nucleophilic addition with second molecule of the reagent to form a dilithium salt of geminal diol. The treatment of the salt with dilute acid yields a geminal diol which immediately loses a molecule of water to form a ketone. This is another reaction with propanoic acid with lithium, methyl lithium. First of all, lithium propanoate form, then it will react with another molecule of methyl lithium to form the butane 2,2 diol, which is unstable and will give you butane 2-one. Next reaction, kind of reaction is the decarboxylation reaction. What is decarboxylation? Simply removal of carbon dioxide from any compound. Sodium alkanoates on heating with soda lime undergo decarboxylation to yield the alkanes. You can see the example, sodium acetate will give you methane, and the carboxylic acid that really undergo decarboxylation simply on heating are beta keto acids, malonic acids, substituted malonic acids, alpha nitro, alpha cyano, beta gamma unsaturated acids, and alpha trihaloacetic acid. So, you can see the examples, beta keto acid how will give you ketone, and alpha alkyl malonic acid, beta gamma unsaturated acid, and alpha nitro alkanoic acid how they form the product. Next reaction is the Kolbe electrolysis. Electrolysis of an aqueous solution of sodium or potassium salt of aliphatic carboxylic acid yields alkane and carbon dioxide at anode. So, you can see what kind of reaction takes place at anode and cathode. At anode, carboxylate ion will get by removal of 2 electron will get the form the carboxylic radical, and this radical then converted dissociated to the alkane and carbon dioxide. At cathode, you can see by acquiring 2 electrons, this sodium with positive charge converted to sodium, and this sodium when reacts with water molecule to give sodium hydroxide. So, overall reaction we can see write like this: sodium salt of carboxylic acid upon electrolysis will give you alkane at anode and sodium hydroxide at cathode. So, this is called the Kolbe electrolysis reaction. These are the examples. Sodium acetate will give you ethane, and sodium ethyl succinate will give you diethyl hexane 1,6-dioate. Another example is also there, however name is not there. Then next reaction is Huns-Dicker reaction. Silver salts of carboxylic acid when treated with bromine in refluxing carbon tetrachloride undergo decarboxylative bromination to form alkyl bromides containing 1 carbon less than the present in the carboxylic acid. You can see the example how silver propionate when react with bromine in presence of carbon tetrachloride will give you ethyl bromide, and how silver 3,3-dimethyl butanoate will give you 1-bromo-2,2-dimethyl propane. Next example is also with silver benzoate, which will give you bromobenzene. So, decarboxylative bromination, you can see decarboxylation is there as well as bromination is also there. That is why we called it decarboxylative bromination, removal of carbon dioxide and addition of bromine. In a useful modification of Huns-Dicker reaction, the carboxylic acid is treated with mercuric oxide and bromine. You can see the example and mechanism also, how it is first dissociated to acyloxy radical and then will give you alkyl bromide. Next reaction is this Schmidt reaction. It is very important reaction, usually comes in your competitive exams or in your regular exams. Carboxylic acid react with hydrazoic acid. What is that? HN3. What is ammonia? NH3. So, it is just opposite to that ammonia, you can learn by it. Hydrazoic acid in the presence of concentrated sulfuric acid to give primary amines containing 1 carbon atom less than that present in the acid. This reaction is accompanied with the evolution of carbon dioxide and nitrogen. The hydrazoic acid is usually generated in situ by the reaction of sodium azide and sulfuric acid. There are also competitive reactions with Schmidt, Lawson and Curtius are also there, in which product is same but starting material is different. So, we can generally see these reactions in competitions, Schmidt, Curtius and Lawson reaction. You can see the example also how hexanoic acid when react with hydrazoic acid will give you pentane 1 amine and phenylacetic acid will give you benzyl amine. This is the mechanism of Schmidt reaction. You can see first of all there is a protonation of carbonyl group, that is hydrogen with positive charge attack to the carbonyl oxygen. Hence, there is a positive charge because your proton will carry positive charge. So, oxygen will acquire now positive charge. As soon as this positive charge acquired by oxygen, there is a temporary shifting of pi electrons from the carbonyl group. Hence, now carbon is more susceptible towards this N3H group, means hydrazoic group, because nitrogen there is having lone pair of electron with negative charge. So, it can easily attack to this carbon. Intermediate is there, then what happens? This R group will migrate or rearranges to the nitrogen, then it will form alkyl isocyanate. How it forms? You can see by the rearrangement, there is a elimination of N2 group and then this on hydrolysis will give you primary amine. First of all, here we can say alkyl isocyanate is formed, then after hydrolysis you will get the primary amine, protonated primary amine. Pyrolysis of calcium salts. Calcium formate on strong heating yields formaldehyde. A mixture of calcium formate and calcium salt of carboxylic acid other than formic acid when heated strongly yields an aldehyde. Calcium salt of a carboxylic acid other than formic acid on strong heating yields a symmetrical ketone. We will see in the coming slides what is the behavior of formic acid for these kind of reaction, means for the strong heating or for the pyrolysis. You can see the examples here, how aldehyde and ketone form from calcium formate and from calcium acetate. Aldehydes and acetone will form respectively. Next kind of reaction are the reduction reaction. I have already started in the last lectures the what is the reduction, addition of hydrogen or removal of oxygen, or you can say increase in the oxidation number. Carboxylic acids are difficult to reduce. Most of the reducing agent are unable to reduce them. Lithium aluminum hydride and diborane are the two reducing agents that reduce carboxylic acid to the primary alcohols. So, with lithium aluminum hydride, carboxylic acid are reduced to primary alcohols under mild condition in a dry ether or tetrahydrofuran. So, you can see carboxylic acid will reduce to alcohol. With diborane, carboxylic acid are rapidly reduced to primary alcohol by diborane in tetrahydrofuran. Diborane reacts with carboxylic group faster than with any other functional group such as keto or nitro group. This allows to carry out selective reduction of carboxylic group in presence of keto or nitro group. So, you can see the selective reduction of carboxylic group in the presence of keto or nitro group to convert the primary alcohol. Next and last kind of reaction for carboxylic acids are reactions involving alpha hydrogen. Here the products are alpha halo acids, and this special kind of reaction is known as Hell-Wohlhard-Zielinski reaction. In short, we can also say HVZ. The aliphatic carboxylic acid having alpha hydrogen react with chlorine or bromine in the presence of a small amount of red phosphorus or PCl3 or PbR3 to give the exclusively alpha chloro or alpha bromo acid respectively. This reaction is called the Hell-Wohlhard-Zielinski reaction, as I have already stated after its discoverers, and nickname HVZ. You can see the examples how propionic acid react with bromine and with red phosphorus will give you the alpha bromo propionic acid, and phenyl acetic acid will give you alpha bromo phenyl acetic acid. Cyclohexane carboxylic acid will give you 1-chlorocyclohexane carboxylic acid. So, here you can see the halogen atom comes on alpha hydrogens. That is why we are saying reactions involving alpha hydrogen. Alpha hydrogen is replaced by the halogen atom. This is the actual mechanism how it happens. First of all, you will get the PbR3 tribromophosphine phosphorus, tribromine phosphorus when react with phosphorus and bromine, then it will give you the acetic acid, means halogenation will takes place at alpha hydrogen. You can see the example also acid bromide, and there is a enol form of acid bromide, and when it is reacts with bromine, it will give you alpha bromo acid bromide. It is a racemic mixture. Or you can also see the other reaction how alpha bromo acid with acid bromide is formed. Usefulness of this reaction: alpha halo acids are important synthetically because the alpha hydrogen atom can be replaced by variety of nucleophilic reagent, not only by halogen atom but also by other nucleophilic reagents such as NaOH, NaCN and NH3. Thus, a variety of alpha substituted carboxylic acids may be prepared. Alpha halo acids are also useful in preparing alpha beta unsaturated acid by base catalyzed dehydrohalogenation. Here are the examples. You can see alpha bromopropionic acid will give you lactic acid. So, you can see bromide ion will substitute by hydroxyl ion. Another reaction is there, alpha bromopropionic acid when reacts with sodium cyanide, there is a substitution of cyanide group by substitution of bromide by cyano group, and which on heating will give you methyl malonic ester. Next reaction is with chloroacetic acid. When it reacts with sodium cyanide, you can see the substitution of chloride by cyano group, cyanoacetic acid is there, which on strong heating and hydrolysis will give you malonic acid. Chloroacetic acid when reacts with ammonia, you will get the alpha aminoacetic acid. You can see how the substitution takes place and hydrolysis will give you the glycine. Next reaction is alpha bromopropionic acid, which will give you acrylic acid. So, these were the reactions about the carboxylic reactions. Here we are also taking the small notation about the formic acid, some important things about the formic acid and acetic acid. What is formic acid? HCOOH, the first carboxylic compound. It was first isolated by the distillation of red ants. Latin word formica for ant. So, its name formic acid. Its IUPAC name is methanoic acid. It also occurs in stings of bees and wasps. So, irritation you have generally observed that irritation caused by their stinging is due to the formation of formic acid which they are injected to our body. So, formic acid is also present in the bristles of the stinging nettles. How can we this was a general things about the formic acid. So, how can we prepare formic acid in laboratory? In laboratory by heating oxalic acid with glycerol at 100 to 120 degrees Celsius, and you can see the reactions. Oxalic acid will first of all give you glyceryl monoxalate, and which on decarboxylation will give you glyceryl monoformate, and when it reacts with oxalic acid hydrate, it will form the formic acid along with glyceryl monoxalate, which will continue the process formation of formic acid. This is the representation of formation of formic acid. You can see the flask is heated on a sand bath until the temperature reaches about 120 degrees Celsius. The reaction mixture begins to froth due to evaluation of carbon dioxide. The heating is continued at this temperature till the evaluation of carbon dioxide ceases. The flask is then cooled and a fresh lot of crystalline oxalic acid is added. This mixture is again heated at 120 degrees Celsius when formic acid along with some water distills over the collect in the receiver. Anhydrous formic acid cannot be separated from water by fractional distillation. Here we are saying the formation of anhydrous formic acid because the boiling point of formic acid is near to the water molecule. Like you can see, the boiling point of formic acid is 100.5 degrees Celsius and boiling point of water you know very well is 100 degrees Celsius. Moreover, formic acid and water form a constant boiling mixture, that is azeotropic mixture with boiling point 107.1 degree. So, following procedure is adopted to get anhydrous and pure formic acid. The pure formic acid containing some water is neutralized with lead carbonate when water insoluble lead formate is formed. The solid lead formate is collected by filtration and then purified by recrystallization from hot water. The pure crystals are collected and dried. The dry lead formate crystals are then packed inside the inner tube of Liebeck condenser. Steam is passed through the outer jacket of the condenser. So, this is the, you can see the procedure of formation of anhydrous formic acid, and this is the figure. You can see in the figure how the anhydrous formic acid is formed. Anhydrous formic acid is liberated from the lead formate by action of H2S. You can see from the left side dry H2S gases passes through the condenser and is collected in the receiver. Finally, the formic acid so obtained is distilled over lead formate to remove H2S that remain undissolved in the formic acid. So, here is the example, lead formate when react with H2S will give you formic acid, and in the representation you can see the condenser is there, and the how anhydrous formic acid is collected in this conical flask from the condenser. Lead formate, where is lead formate, you can also see where it is collect, from where steam is passed, from where glass wool plug is there, and from where calcium chloride is there, guard tube. So, alternatively, pure and dry formic acid may also be obtained by distilling a mixture of sodium formate and sodium hydrogen sulfate. Next preparation of formic acid is industrial preparation. Formic acid, why we are taking different preparation, laboratory preparation and industrial preparation. In laboratory we can prepare by any method, but specifically for industrial we are taking that kind of preparation which is comparatively cheap, or the process are simpler and which can form in a single reaction. So, that is why laboratory preparation and industrial preparations are different. So, it cannot be very costly. Cost effect is there. Formic acid is manufactured by heating aqueous sodium hydroxide or powdered sodium hydroxide with carbon monoxide at 200 degrees Celsius under a pressure of 8 to 10 atmosphere, and distilling the slurry of sodium formate so formed with the requisite amount of dilute sulfuric acid. You can see the preparation of formic acid. Other methods are oxidation of methyl alcohol or formaldehyde. Methyl alcohol or formaldehyde is oxidized with the air in presence of platinum black catalyst to give formic acid. Next preparation for formic acid is from the hydrolysis of chloroform. Chloroform is heated with concentrated potassium hydroxide to give potassium formate, and then it is treated with dilute sulfuric acid to give formic acid. Next, these are the preparations for formic acid. Now, the physical properties of formic acid. Formic acid is a colorless pungent smelling liquid. Its boiling point is 100.5 degree Celsius. It is miscible with water, ethyl alcohol and ether, and it is highly corrosive and produces blisters on skin. So, you can observe that when these bees or other insects are biting, there is formation of, they are leaving their formic acid. So, it creates the some irritation on your skins or like patches. These are the reactions of formic acid with active metals, acid, bases, carbonates, bicarbonates. This is the carbonates, spelling mistake is there, and bicarbonates. Formate salts are formed, as we have already discussed in the reactions of carboxylic acid, with alkyl halide formate esters, with acid chloride anhydride, and with alcohol and ammonia formate esters and formamide are formed. So, you can see how the formamide is formed by the reaction of ammonia. With PCl5 and thionyl chloride, SOCl2, carbon monoxide and HCl are formed. I have already stated in that slide that formyl chloride is not obtained because it is unstable and dissociates into carbon monoxide and HCl. On heating sodium formate, sodium oxalate is formed, and with calcium formate, formaldehyde is obtained. Now, the resemblance with aldehyde as well as difference from the other acid. Due to the presence of carbonyl hydrogen bond, formic acid is very easily oxidized to carbonic acid, even by weak oxidizing agent. Carbonic acid, being unstable, dissociates to carbon dioxide and to water molecule. So, you can see the reaction how formic acid oxidized to carbonic acid, and like the aldehydes, formic acid reduces Tollens reagent, silver ammonium nitrate, Fehling's solution, acidified caminophore and potassium dichromate. It also reduces mercuric chloride. Other carboxylic acid do not possess such reducing properties since they are oxidized only with difficulty. So, here is the reaction with the Tollens reagent, how formic acid and formate salts reduce Tollens reagent to give the grey precipitate of silver or silver mirror. Then reaction with Fehling solution, formic acid and formate salts reduce Fehling solution to form a red precipitate of cuprous oxide. You can see the reaction. Reaction with mercury chloride solution, formic acid and formate salts reduce mercury chloride to form at first a white precipitate of mercurous chloride, and the later is further reduced by excess formic acid to mercury, which is obtained as a grey precipitate. Then reaction with KMnO4, in the presence of H2SO4, it reduces permanganate ion, that is MnO4 minus, to manganese ion, that is Mn2 plus. As a result, pink color of potassium permanganate solution disappears. Then reaction with acidified potassium dichromate solution. In the presence of H2SO4, formic acid also reduces potassium dichromate to chromic sulphate. As a result, the orange color of dichromate solution changes to green. Reaction with chlorine water, it oxidizes formic acid to carbon dioxide and water molecule and itself reduced to hydrochloric acid. Next reaction is the dehydration. When warmed with concentrated sulfuric acid, formic acid undergoes intramolecular dehydrogenation to form carbon monoxide and water, and this is a laboratory method of preparation of carbon monoxide. This is the mechanism. This is an example of alpha elimination, 1,1 elimination, and how it forms you can see. First of all, there is a protonation of hydroxyl group, then because water molecule is a good leaving group, there is a removal of water molecule. So, formyl cation is there, you can see the resonating structure of formyl cation, and then it reacts with the hydrogen sulfate will give you carbon monoxide. Next reaction is decarboxylation. When heated at 160 degrees Celsius under pressure, formic acid decomposes into carbon dioxide and hydrogen. You can see the reaction. Now the uses of formic acid. It is used in many places, like you can see the coagulating rubber from latex, dehydration of hides in leading tanning, the preparation of carbon monoxide in the laboratory, dyeing cloth in textile industry, preparing nickel formate which is used as a catalyst in the hydrogenation of oils, and preparing formic acetic anhydride which is used as a formylating agent. Next, the carboxylic compound we are taking here, the acetic acid, CH3COOH, the next carboxylic compound of this series. Acetic acid is the chief organic constituent of vinegar. All of you aware of the word vinegar, and hence its name Latin word acetum. Acetum means vinegar, and French word vinaigre. Vinaigre means sour wine. It has been also known since ancient times. Old wine turns sour due to the formation of acetic acid by aerial oxidation of ethyl alcohol present in the wine in the presence of certain bacteria like Acetobacter aceti or Mycoderma aceti. Acetic acid occurs in the free state in the juices of some fruits and as acetate esters in the number of essential oil, the fragrant volatile liquid obtained from some plant extract. So, the IUPAC name of acetic acid is ethanoic acid. Now, we are discussing about the preparation. How can we prepare acetic acid? First of all, we are taking the laboratory preparation which is feasible in the lab. Acetic acid can be prepared in the laboratory by the oxidation of ethyl alcohol with potassium dichromate and while dissolving in aqueous sulfuric acid. So, you can see the reaction. 3 molecules of ethyl alcohol when reacts with 2 molecules of potassium dichromate and with 8 molecules of sulfuric acid with heating will give you 3 molecules of acetic acid along with 2 molecules of chromic sulphate and potassium sulphate and water molecule. A solution of potassium dichromate K2Cr2O7 in aqueous H2SO4 is taken in a flask first of all, and then ethyl alcohol is added to it slowly. The mixture is heated on a sand bath. You know why we are heating on sand bath? Directly because it can catch the fire. One more thing, while preparing anything in organic synthesis, if you want to prepare anything in a very fine amount, or the fundamental rule for the preparation of any compound is that you need to add any reagent very slowly and with constant shaking. So, after completion of the reaction, the mixture is distilled to get aqueous acetic acid. The latter is neutralized with sodium carbonate to form sodium acetate. Then sodium acetate is crystallized to get crystals of sodium acetate. The crystals are collected, dried, melted and finally cooled to get anhydrous solid sodium acetate. The latter is treated with requisite quantity of concentrated sulfuric acid to liberate acetic acid. And finally, it is distilled to get pure acetic acid, which has boiling point 118 degrees Celsius, and it is called glacial acetic acid. That you might be heard in your lab that sometimes you need to use the glacial acetic acid, means pure acetic acid. This is now the second preparation is industrial preparation from acetylene. Acetylene is first converted into acetaldehyde by passing it through dilute sulfuric acid. You can see acetylene when reacted with 20% H2SO4, 1% mercuric sulfate will give you acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde is then oxidized with air in presence of cobalt acetate or manganese acetate as a catalyst at 60 to 70 degrees Celsius under 4 to 5 atmospheric pressure, and you can see the reaction. Next preparation for industrial are from methanol. Methanol reacts with carbon monoxide at 210 degrees Celsius under 500 atmospheric pressure in the presence of octacarbonyl dicobalt as a catalyst to yield acetic acid. An even more efficient synthesis of acetic acid has been developed, which employs the reaction of methanol with carbon monoxide in the presence of rhodium complex. You can see diiodo, dicobalt, rhodium, or the other rhodium complexes are also there, which act as an activator. Next reaction is from ethanol, quick vinegar process. In this process, 10% aqueous ethanol is oxidized with the air in presence of bacteria Acetobacter aceti or Mycoderma aceti at 35 degrees Celsius. This is a fermentation process. A dilute solution of acetic acid is obtained. You can see how much dilute it is 6 to 10%, and this is called vinegar, which you might be heard in the market, vinegar. The process is limited to the production of vinegar in food industry. Next is from pyroligneous acid. The distillate obtained from the destructive distillation of wood at 500 degrees Celsius in the absence of air is allowed to stand for some time when two layers separate. The upper layer called pyroligneous acid is decanted off. The lower layer is wood tar. Pyroligneous acid contains 10% acetic acid, 5% methyl alcohol, 0.5% acetone, and the rest is water. Then this pyroligneous acid vapor is passed into hot milk of lime. Acetic acid is retained in the solution or as calcium acetate, while methyl alcohol, acetone and other volatile matters escape. The aqueous calcium acetate solution is concentrated to yield crystals of calcium acetate. The calcium acetate are then treated with calculated amount of sulfuric acid to liberate acetic acid. This mixture is distilled to give acetic acid as distillate. So, this is the process, third process, how can you prepare acetic acid from in industrial preparation. Other methods are from methyl magnesium iodide with carbon dioxide, then hydrolysis of methyl cyanide will give you acetic acid, and you can see the reactions how methyl iodide first of all reacts with potassium cyanide, cyano group is there, in means substitution takes place, then it reacts with HCl and H2O will give you acetic acid. Next is the hydrolysis of ethyl acetate. You will also get the acetic acid. First of all, the ethyl acetate react with sodium hydroxide will give sodium salt of acetate. Then when it reacts with HCl will give you acetic acid. Oxidation of acetaldehyde, it will again give you acetic acid. Next preparation is the oxidation of acetone. You can see all three reactions, and then decarboxylation of malonic acid. Simply decarboxylation is there, carbon dioxide is removed. Next is the physical properties of acetic acid. Acetic acid is a colorless liquid. Its boiling point is 118 degrees Celsius. It has a pungent smell and sour taste. It freezes at 16.6 degrees Celsius to an ice like crystalline. Therefore, it is called glacial acetic acid. Your Latin word from glacialis, ice like, means ice like. That is why it is called glacial acetic acid. It is miscible with water, alcohol and ether in all proportions. It is a good solvent for many organic compounds, phosphorus, iodine and sulfur. Acetic acid like formic acid exists as a cyclic dimer in liquid and vapor states through intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Now, reactions. Acetic acid shows all general type of reaction shown by monocarboxylic acid. These are the reactions with metals, bases, carbonate, bicarbonate, salts are formed, with alcohol, esters are formed, with phosphorus trichloride, pentachloride, thionyl chloride, acetyl chloride will form, with ammonia, ammonium acetate will form, which on heating gives acetamide. With phosphorus pentoxide, acetic anhydride will form. With soda lime, methane is formed. With the diazomethane, methyl acetate is formed, and on Kolbe electrolysis at anode it will give the ethane, at cathode it will give the sodium hydroxide. These are another reactions of acetic acid. Pyrolysis of calcium salt will form acetone, and Hans-Dicker reaction, methyl halide will form. Schmidt reaction, methyl amine will form. Reduction with lithium aluminum hydride, ethyl alcohol will form, and reduction with the diborane, ethyl alcohol is formed. So, it is a quick view of the reactions of, because we have already discussed in detail in the last slide how the carboxylic acid reacts with these different reagents. Next, halogenation. You can see the halogen will continue till you get the trichloroacetic acid. Next, intermolecular dehydration. Here difference is there. Formation of ketene is there. When acetic acid is heated at 700 degrees Celsius in presence of aluminium phosphate or triethyl phosphate, ketene is formed. It is a highly reactive toxic gas. Its boiling point is minus 48 degrees Celsius. So, it cannot be stored in its form a dimer. It is diketene, which is a beta lactone. You can see the dimer of ketene. Ketene is a good acetylating reagent. It replaces the active hydrogen by acetyl group. It reacts with various active hydrogen compounds. You can see the reaction how ketene reacts with ethyl alcohol will give you ethyl acetate, and with ammonia acetamide will form, with methylamine N-methyl acetamide will form, with acetic acid acetic anhydride, and with HCl acetyl chloride will form. Diketene is also useful in synthesis. It reacts with alcohols and amines to give derivatives of acetoacetic ester, that is 3-oxobutanoic acid. You can see how the methyl alcohol attacks on the ketene and you will get the methyl 3-oxobutanoate. The opening of the 4-membered ring relieves the angle strain. You know about the base strain theory, hence these reactions are facile. These were the reactions and preparations of acetic acid. Now, we come to the uses of acetic acid, as we have already discussed, as vinegar for flavoring food items and making pickles, as a laboratory reagent and solvent for coagulating rubber from latex, for preparing many organic compounds such as acetic anhydride, acetone, ethyl acetate, vinyl acetate, cellulose acetate, glyceryl diacetate, and etc. For preparing many useful metal acetates such as lead tetraacetate, basic copper acetate. It is also called green pigment, were degrees for dyeing and calico printing, cobalt and manganese acetates, aluminium acetate for waterproofing of fabrics, basic lead acetate for preparing paints like white lead, lead aluminum iron, and chromium acetate for as mordants in dyeing. So, number of uses are there for acetic acid. So, here we are just concluding that we have finish about the all kind of reactions of carboxylic acid as far as possible, and quick view about the formic acid and acetic acid. For that note, thank you so much.
With this note, thank you ma'am, thank you so very much for giving us such a productive session. If you talk about the acetic acids, as you explained, what basically the acetic acids are, if you want to revise, because we have some few minutes
left. What are acetic acid? Acetic acid is CH3COOH. This is the second molecule of carboxylic series. We can obtain vinegar, the very famous food item for flavoring the food items. So we have also seen go through the preparations of acetic acid, number of preparation, laboratory preparations and industrial preparations. Then we talk about the physical properties of acetic acid, like what is the glacial acetic acid. Because we are using in laboratory, sometimes students might not aware of the what is the glacial acetic acid. So simply it is the pure acetic acid, because it freezes at 16.6 degrees Celsius, as I have already stated in this slide, and it comes from the Latin word glacialis, which is ice like. Then we have discussed about the reactions of acetic acid, number of reactions given by the reaction acetic acid, and we have also already discussed about the numerous uses of acetic acid.
Definitely, we discussed about the numerous uses of the acetic acid, and in our forthcoming lecture, in the next lecture, what we are going to study under this very series?
We have discussed about the preparations of carboxylic acid, then their reaction. Now we come to the next topic, which is arises from itself, carboxylic acid, that is derivatives of carboxylic acid. How can we prepare derivatives of carboxylic acid, and how many we can prepare, and their reactions also. Derivatives of carboxylic acids.
With this note, thank you ma'am, thank you so very much. And dear students, I hope that this sessions on carboxylic acid would appear to be very, very beneficial for you, because Dr. Vandana is making persistent efforts so that it becomes easier for you to understand carboxylic acids. As we discussed on the preparation of the carboxylic acid, today we discussed about the reactions of the carboxylic acids, and as Dr. Vandana said, we would be discussing more in the future session. Once again, I would like to thank her, and dear friends, if you have any queries regarding this particular lecture, that is on the carboxylic acids alone, you can mail us at info.cc@nic.in, and if you want to access this particular lecture, you can access this with the help of the YouTube. We are waiting for your feedback. Once again, thank you so very much.